3 weeks after the Titan sub implosion, we are still learning new details of its fateful expedition to the Titanic deep below the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. Recently, a sub expert said the 5 victims on board were likely aware an implosion was inevitable for more than 48 seconds before their deaths. Meanwhile, reports this week came out that OceanGate's passenger waiver said the Titan sub only reached the depth of the Titanic on 13 out of 90 dives. That's a 14% success rate. And last weekend, this map was released in a legal filing. The map shows the Titan sub's proximity to the Titanic wreck. It helped searchers find the missing craft. These headlines underscoring just how many questions remain about that fateful day. Some critics now asking whether this tragedy could and should have been prevented. Moments ago, I spoke to the New Yorker staff writer Ben Taub. His in-depth reporting on the Titan sub reveals how OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush did much more than ignore the warning signs. Ben, you spoke to several people who warned this sub was not safe and that Stockton Rush was reckless. In 2018, OceanGate's chief pilot, David Lockridge, was fired after raising safety concerns. He warned, quote, "There is no way on earth you could have paid me to dive that thing." He dropped his complaint to OSHA after OceanGate threatened to sue him?
Yes, OceanGate not only threatened to sue him, they threatened to try to have him and his family deported from the United States because he was a Scottish submariner with 30 years experience, and OceanGate had sponsored his green card as part of his employment there as their director of marine operations. So because his employment was tied to his immigration status, and they threatened to try to have him sent back if he didn't withdraw his complaint.
Lockridge wrote a report that's not been made public before your article, saying that glue was leaking, bolts on the sub were failing, electrical pods were corroding. He wrote to Rob McCallum, who was an expedition leader in the industry, that the sub was an accident waiting to happen.
Yes, Lockridge was so concerned after his firing that he felt he had to make others in the industry aware of what was going on. For some years already, this was in 2018 that he was fired, for some years already, others in the industry had been following in horror as OceanGate would put out these press releases announcing that they intended to go to 3,800 meters in a carbon fiber cylindrical hull, which was clearly, as far as they were concerned, designed to do what it ultimately did, which was to fail. They were warning and very scared that it would implode. In fact, there's even an email between two heads of another submersible company from March 1st, 2018 that says, it doesn't get more sensational than dead people in a sub on the way to Titanic. That's how certain they were that this would end as it ultimately did, and so they tried to raise alarms.
Yeah, McCallum actually wrote to Stockton Rush saying that, quote, "In your race to Titanic, you are mirroring that famous cry, 'She is unsinkable.'" And yet it's odd. Rush's response to both his own employee and to McCallum's warnings were, "I take this as a personal insult."
Yeah, he basically was in this existential fight against physics. It was hubris versus physics. And that didn't work for Icarus, and it hasn't worked for anyone since. And so he didn't take any engineers' recommendations seriously. He didn't take warnings from others in the industry seriously. And he deliberately chose to not try to have the sub classed by a marine classification society because it was very clear that it would fail that process and be deemed unsafe to dive.
Another sub company, a competitor, drafted a letter also in 2018 to the U.S. government urging the Department of Labor to take, quote, "immediate and decisive action to stop OceanGate from taking passengers to the Titanic before people die." And then we have the letter signed by more than 36 sub experts that was sent to OceanGate warning of the dangerous risks over and over. Everyone, either on the inside of the company or outside the company with expertise, was sounding the alarm.
Yeah, because the reasons that it failed were entirely predictable and indeed were predicted. Carbon fiber is a strong material under tension, and Stockton Rush, as an aerospace engineer, was aware of that because carbon fiber is used in aircraft sometimes, and it's strong under those circumstances. But it is a capricious material under compression, and they were taking it to extraordinary depths where it would not function, it would not work. And there were even times where Stockton Rush would describe in interviews on camera essentially hull breakage. He would describe the cracking sounds, but express it as if it were no concern, as if it were somehow the hull sort of strengthening itself through that process by eliminating the weak fibers. But those fibers don't degenerate. They simply continue to break. And so that was what carried on happening as they proceeded with this operation against all alarms.
Stockton Rush also carefully set up the operations at Ocean Gate to avoid the U.S. government and regulatory oversight. He launched his subs in international waters off of a Canadian ship, and he also insisted on calling all these paying customers mission specialists, not passengers. Why?
So it's completely illegal in the United States to take paying passengers in an unclassed experimental vehicle, a submersible. You can't do that. If you want to build an experimental sub that's going to fail and you want to go see if you might die in it, you're allowed to go do that, but you're not allowed to take paying passengers. And so what they did is they transferred ownership of the sub to a shell company in the Bahamas, and then created this completely fake category of mission specialist to make it seem as if the passengers were in fact crew. And so passengers didn't actually buy tickets. They contributed funds at a price set by Stockton Rush to fund their own missions. But it's really, hard to swallow that the idea that a 19-year-old who was afraid of going inside was a mission specialist or had any business being there at all. And it was all to dodge the fact that this was an unclassed experimental sub, and it's not legal to take passengers inside such a vehicle for the very reasons we now know here.
Well, it has been an extraordinary investigation after this implosion, and my goodness, there is now so much evidence coming to light that there were so many warning signs. I can't fathom that there won't be some sort of legal action after this. Ben Taub, congratulations on the article. It's fantastic, and it was great to have you on the show tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thanks very much for having me on.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.